All right, today we're going to be visual detectives. We're diving deep into these four seemingly simple rooms to figure out the hidden stories they're telling us. Through their design, their furniture, and maybe most importantly, what's not there. So right off the bat, these rooms look pretty similar, don't they? They're all compact, kind of minimalist, and very functional. But here's the thing. The closer you look, the more the little differences start to pop out. Like, see the patterned tile floor on the left versus the plain one on the right? Or how the bed's positioned. These little things aren't accidents. They're clues. And today, we're going to piece them all together. So yeah, that's our mission, to solve this puzzle. We're going to learn how to really read a room. Not just see what's in it, but understand why it's there. It's a pretty cool skill to have, and it all starts with asking the right questions. Now, before we get all caught up in the little details that make them different, we have to ask the big question first. What makes them the same? What's the shared DNA that makes all four of these rooms feel like they're cut from the same cloth? Figuring that out is our first move. See, every well-designed space has a kind of blueprint, a core reason for existing. So to really get these rooms, we've got to strip away all the surface-level stuff and find the basic functions they all share. And it turns out, it all boils down to just three things. And here it is. This is the big secret. Their shared DNA is built on three simple actions: sleep, work, and store. That's it. This trinity is the foundation for every single one of these rooms. Let's break it down. First up, the most obvious one: sleep. The bed is the absolute anchor of this space. It's the first thing you notice. It might be a simple metal frame, nothing fancy, but its presence screams that the number one job of this room is for rest. But it's not just for sleeping. Next up is work. And this function is just as clear. Every room has a spot with a desk, a chair, maybe a lamp. So this isn't just a bedroom, it's also a small office. And that right there tells you something about who's supposed to live here, right? A student, maybe a young professional. And finally, the third piece of the puzzle: store. In a small room, storage is absolutely everything. You can see the simple wardrobe here, a clothing rack there. It's not elaborate, but man, is it efficient. It's designed to hold just what you need, keeping the space working and clutter-free. So there you have it. Sleep, work, store. That's the core blueprint. Okay, so we've got the blueprint. We know what these rooms are for, but this is where it gets really interesting. Now we can look at all the little details and see how each space builds its own unique personality right on top of that same foundation. Let's literally start from the ground up, the floors. In some of the rooms, you'll see this patterned, kind of marble-looking tile. It adds a bit of visual flair, a little texture, but then the other rooms go with the super simple plain tile, which creates a much more neutral, quiet backdrop. And you can really see the difference here. That patterned floor on the left feels more dynamic, it has some energy. The plain, polished floor on the right, though, it feels more stark, more utilitarian. Neither one is wrong, but they definitely give off a completely different vibe, don't they? Now, what about light? There are two totally different approaches going on. Some rooms have layers of artificial light, desk lamps, wall lights, which is all about creating focused little zones for getting things done. But then you have this other room that's just dominated by one massive window. It's all about flooding the whole space with natural light. And this chart just pulls everything together. You can see exactly how that same basic blueprint gets twisted and tweaked. For instance, just look at room 3. The simple white shelf and the red striped bedding give it a totally different feel than room 4, with its dark wood wardrobe and gray wall. It's amazing how these small choices make such a huge difference. So we've looked at the blueprint, we've analyzed the details, now it's time to put our detective hats back on and bring all these clues together. What's the final conclusion? What are these rooms really truly telling us? Because this is the question it's all been leading to. When you take everything we've seen, the function, the consistency, those tiny little differences, who is the person that's meant to live in a space like this? Well, let's lay out the evidence. They're crazy efficient. The furniture is all basic and uniform. There's a real lack of personal stuff, almost no clutter. The layouts are super compact. When you put all that together, it just doesn't feel like a traditional long-term home. It feels more like, really nice student housing, a co-living building, or a place for someone who's in town for a short-term contract. And there's a name for this: purpose-built spaces. These aren't just bedrooms, they're more like highly engineered environments. They're designed for a specific lifestyle, one that prioritizes function over personalization and efficiency over feeling permanent. They give you everything you need and absolutely nothing you don't. So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, the really powerful thing about this whole exercise isn't just understanding these 4 rooms. It's about turning that same way of looking at things back onto our own lives and our own spaces. A room like this is basically a blank canvas. It's functional, it's clean, it's ready to go. But the very moment someone moves in, it starts telling their story. And you know what? That's true for all of our spaces, whether they're super minimalist like this or joyfully cluttered. They're always telling a story about our priorities, our habits, and who we are. And that leaves us with just one final question. If you were to deconstruct your own room using this same method, looking at its core functions, its little details, and its overall character, what story would it tell about you? And is that the story you want it to tell? Thanks for digging into this with me today.